Ken Flanagan here. Hey, I get a lot of questions on my emails lately about what kind of paint I use. I use all kinds of paints. I use a huge combination. I use some expensive car paints, Tamara. There's so many paints I use, so just go to a hobby shop. They got a bunch of enamel paints that you can use that work well. It just depends on what theme I go for, or what paint I'm using. So, and then I got questions on what needles I use. I don't know what, I mean, I got a bunch of needles to push the paint in, and there's so many different needles that you can find at different hobby shops that work just as well. I don't know the names of these things, so sorry not to help you there. But for cleanup, you want to use acetone, alcohol, lacquer thinner, enamel reducer. There's so many things you can use for there too. Mineral spirits, just for your cleanup, for your wipe down, getting the residue off. So I hope that helps. And if you're doing stuff like this Callaway here, you're putting dots in, just get a needle basically and just fill the dots whatever color you want. Let those sit overnight, depending on what paint you use. You got hardener in there, it'll be a lot faster. But let me get started here. This is a Titleist Vokey I just refinished. It's a black Titleist Vokey SM60. We're just going to do a theme on here so you can see how it's done. This is done on nitrate. If you're doing it on chrome, it's a lot easier. This is black nitrate, so there's kind of like a rough surface there, so it's sometimes a little bit harder to wipe down. But I'm just gonna go with a green theme here. This is a lime green. We'll go with lime green Titleist. It's gonna be kind of hard to do this because I'm leaning forward, so it's gonna be a little sloppier than what I'm used to here. And you kind of, yeah, this is sloppy. I'm sorry about that, but kind of leaning in the camera so you guys can see me do this. I don't usually hold it. Kind of just fill all your little letters. Oh my gosh, this is sloppy, but just make sure all your voids are filled in there. And just come back, have your paper towels ready or whatever you're using to do a wipe down, and kind of wipe it away from the other letters. And just leave the residue on there at first. And if you got like a little dry spot, like I got one right here, just hit it again. No biggie. Or you can come back once it dries. That works. And just wipe real lightly. You're not trying to get it off. You want that paint to dry like that. And then we'll go with the, let's go with the white numbers here. Sorry about my breathing. I got a sinus cold right now. Alright. This is kind of quick, but get you to understand how easy this is. Just make sure you got all your voids filled. Come back, make sure you wipe away from wherever you don't want this paint to go. And just kind of wipe lightly like that. And then come back and just kind of wipe it like that. And you're going to let it dry like this a little bit, get a little skin over it, then you're going to wipe it with your acetone. Then we'll just go, let's go with the green. This is kind of hard to do with. Let's go with the green spin mill. And you can get real fancy with this. The needles you do want to use, you want to make sure you got fine or super fine. Don't go with the mediums, it's too big. Then you just, let me do this on camera. And you kind of wipe it lightly the other way. You can see how nice that's turning out. Oh, we got that on camera, there you go. And then we're going to go with the, say you want to go with the, wipe this off, a BV we're going to go green there, and we'll go green Vokey. Just make this easy for myself. Just like that. And when you wipe this one, this is where it gets tricky. If you're trying to do a theme where you don't want it in the wings there, you got to make sure you're wiping always away from the target areas that you're trying to protect. Kind of like that. Let's fold this. And kind of like this. And come back once you got the puddle out. Like this. You can see I kind of wiped a little bit too much out there. But we put that back there. Like that. And you'll let that dry. I'm going to do it a little bit earlier than I normally do it. And say you go white wings. And you can do any color you want. Like I said, I'm just... Oops. Sorry about that. But like I said, this is not my standard operation procedure here. Like that. And usually when you have these things laying down too on a block, it's a lot easier to just get a little less paint in these areas. You kind of fill your voids that way. Okay, then we're going to take a little paper towel here. And we're going to just wipe this way, kind of like that. Kind of wipe that way, like that. Another paper towel. And that's kind of how it looks. Let me fill these in, get these. This is your number. You got the number there. Get a number like that. I'm going to do it with acetone early, just to get this on film for you, because I don't know how to edit this film. So we'll get the number first. This nice wipe. You saw how nice that come out. And then we'll get down here. This is kind of risky doing it when everything's still wet, but you want to make sure it's dry a little bit. Then you're going to get your top, and kind of like that. If you have any questions, please post down below. You know, email me. I hope I answered the questions I got on email. I know it's kind of vague on the paints, but like I said, there's so many paints out there. There's so many needles out there. I don't really, you know, pay attention to the names, especially on the needles. I like some for certain paints. I like others for other paints. So, any questions, please post down below, and we'll talk to you soon.